put your hands together and give it up for our Louisville mayor.
Hi, Aspen Challenge. We are Team Adena from Louisville Middle High School, and we decided to accept the Health Leads Challenge presented to us by Alexandra Quinn and Tigey Hill. So why Adena? The Adena are the first known civilization to settle here in our Louisville, Kentucky. They're the roots to our Louisville. However, more than 10% of our current population is not native to Louisville. These immigrants lack the resources to grow their own food, although they do have the extensive background in agriculture, gardening, and growing their own food. I got this. The lack of resources is due to the fact that many of these incoming immigrants settle in Southwest Louisville. The predominant style of housing in Southwest Louisville is apartment-style complexes which lack green space needed to grow their own food.
We had two goals in mind. Our first goal was to have a safe space for newcomers and immigrants of America to come in and integrate with each other. Our second goal was to show that economical barriers shouldn't restrict you from having a healthy lifestyle.
We believe that everyone should have the capacity to grow their own food, especially considering the fact that these immigrants are in a new place and they're food insecure. This is why we decided to work with the Americana Community Center in Southwest Louisville in their pre-existing community garden.
We collaborated with Abby Rudolph, the garden director at the Americana, to discuss how our work alongside the community's work could best help suit their needs. However, language barrier did make this difficult as we could not directly communicate with the residents. But thankfully, Abby led monthly meetings with the residents with gardeners to discuss issues they face in their gardens and objectives they want to achieve. We used these objectives when we created our action plan.
We spent a total of over 20 hours at the Americana Community Center building and installing 3 new raised garden beds, planting fruit trees along the fence line, and making a mulched pathway throughout the entire garden. Americana Community Center staff members, agricultural experts, family members, classmates, and even members of the Southwest Louisville community came to assist us during this process. I am in charge of and have access to communication with various clubs such as FCA, Serving at Mail, National Honor Society, and Beta Club, and we were able to reach volunteers at our school to come help us during this process.
When we started Team Adena, we wanted to help a diverse community and a community that did not have the financial resources to maintain a healthier lifestyle. Not only does Americana serve 101 families from 101 different countries, they serve families from below and at the poverty line. When visiting Americana, we were inspired by the fact that they were already solving this issue through their after-school and summer program. These programs consisted of 200 children. To aid in the success of these programs, we built and installed 3 brand new raised garden beds in hopes that this would allow these students to have access to fresh produce that they can take home to their families.
We also installed a mulch pathway, which will ensure that the community members have access to get to those raised garden beds that we put in the community. As we were walking down the street with wheelbarrows full of mulch, we stopped and talked to a few community members, and they were really inspired by what we were doing, and they were really happy that we were cleaning up the area, and they also became volunteers in the community.
Many organizations helped us throughout this process, including Walnut Grove and Louisville Grows. With the help of agricultural experts, we were able to plant 4 fruit trees outside the fence line at the Americana Community Center to truly give accessibility to every member of the community. With the trees that were donated by Walnut Grove, we hope to spark conversation between strangers in this community and just build lasting connections between each member of it.
We have completed our challenge, but we challenge you to join us, our community, and our partners in reducing the health inequity found in other areas of Louisville.
Together, we can be the roots for a healthier future. Contact us at adena.lmhs on Instagram to help.
I'm Sydney Durbin.
I'm Anaya Hillman.
I'm Tata Fofana.
I'm Emily Lancaster.
I'm James Hernandez.
I'm Kelsey Hoban.
I'm Matthias Barbie.
And I'm Davis Smith. And we are
Team Adena. Are y'all ready for your 3 minutes with the judges? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Judges got your 3 minutes.
Can you guys talk a little bit more about how you're going to sustain the project past the one-time event?
Okay, so like Emily kind of mentioned that we have a lot of volunteers from our school, and we are actually planning on moving to an area like St. Rita High School or Parkland Community Center. And we are still working on new partners such as the recycling company who we've already gotten in contact with and is interested in our project. And then our other partners are still planning on helping us.
Just as follow-up, so what would the program look like as you move it to these other places?
Basically, what we've done at the Americana, we would kind of continue at these places, but at St. Rita, we would just create an entirely new place based off of the experience we gained at Americana.
I think the biggest part of our project is planting fruit trees outside of the fence lines, which allows people who aren't directly participating in the community garden to still feel like they're a part of the community. So I think that that's the most important thing that we would bring to us wherever we go. So any place like Parkland Community Center, we will bring fruit trees there. That's the biggest staple item of our project.
In your written report, you talk a little bit about a Burmese lady that you saw and worked with, and you talk a little bit about how some different folks from other countries, you found out that planting the gardens was a way that they took care of their mental and physical well-being. So what did you learn about the role that culture of a person plays in their health?
We learned that we learned that when you come to America, there's a lot of plants and produce that you don't really find back home. So one way that they invest in their culture and bring it here is by gardening foods that they can find at home. By bringing their culture here, it makes them feel more at home, and it makes them feel like they're more accepted in the community.
When I read your paper, I liked this because it seems like you're hitting the environmental piece of it, the immigrant piece of it, and then a healthy piece of it. You kind of morphed the different challenges together into one. Was that your intent? Two, I think you've seen something among the judges here. You didn't hit sustainability. What are you going to do past doing what you're doing now? And I think you've talked about it here, but if you go to Aspen, you've got to hit that. You've really got to hit that, because if there was a mark on this that was in your paper and your presentation, I needed to know more. I love the project. I love the creativity. I didn't know how you were going to carry it forward.
So to answer the first question about the kind of combining the different challenges, that was something when we first sat down, we narrowed it down actually to the 3 challenges: the health leads, the air pollution, and the immigrant. And we kind of looked at the health leads and saw that gives us a broad picture to tackle more than just one issue, whether it be just the immigrant or just the air pollution. And then kind of moving forward into the sustainability factor, in the original action plan, we mentioned that we were looking into kind of revamping the overall whole community center outdoor space, from the playground to the athletic fields as well. And the reason that we haven't gone into that phase of it yet was that the garden needed to be done first, due to the fact of time that things need to be planted. Different plants, they all have their specific growing season, and that they needed to be planted at the end of winter, start of spring, while the athletic fields could be done a little later on, and that was kind of our next phase. And also with the sustainability it's relatively inexpensive. A lot of it is just things that every person in here, I'm sure, has at home, from shovels to a lawnmower to rakes. Just, it's inexpensive, and it can make a huge difference to a wide community and give everyone from young kids to our grandparents a place to come and interact with each other and build that bond and the strength in the community.
Could I answer the second question?
Yes.
Okay, I know we ran out of time, but I think another important part of our project is the community aspect. So the raised garden beds, the fruit trees, the mulch pathway, they will all have to be replaced at some point. But the connections that we're making between the community members, we're hoping that those will last, and that will be the reason that the garden continues to grow. Because even just being there, we were there 5 days, I think, in total. And even just being there, we met maybe 4 people every day. And every day that we came back, they came back to help us. And so we know that by making these connections with people in our community, that they will come back, and even if we aren't there to help them, that they will carry this on because we've shown them that we care about them, and this has made them care too. And then, yeah, that was my answer.
All right, y'all give it up, give it up, give it up.